Welcome, everybody, to the Ogden Way podcast, a place where we talk about Ogden City, the stories of our city through the stories of our people. Mostly stories of people that are doing the work to invest in themselves while making sure that they are reaching out to others and lifting others as they lift themselves. And so within that context, we're joined today by Farmer Karl.
Hello.
Karl, thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure, Mayor. Yes.
So I got to know Farmer Karl during the campaign, but gotten to know you a lot better since being mayor, right?
Yes, and thank you for that video. I think that was last April.
Right.
You took some time to just do a pitch for Grow Ogden and what we do to relaunch lives through farming and how that may be part of the solution for Ogden's homelessness situation.
Right. And so it's a perfect example, which is why we invited you on the show, is you're clearly a man of integrity, a man with a big heart. You care, you give, and you've had success in the world of farming and growing, right? And you want to make sure that you use that success to teach others how to do the same, to grow food while making sure to grow themselves.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's the essence of Grow Ogden, right?
It is. Grow Ogden is really a job training program, and it's condensed to just 16 weeks because of our funding. We had to do a minimum viable product to demonstrate the power of just 16 weeks growing food together. And for last year, our first year and launch of the program, we did it in 2.5 hours, 5 days a week, so that they could get the consistency of showing up to work every day on time. And really, that's what we're trying to teach them, work skills that would help them get a stable job, and we could recommend them to their employers to say, hey, Joe shows up every day at work. He's committed to change his life. He's committed to be responsible. We highly recommend Joe for your workplace.
Perfect. And so while they're doing the work, they're also learning a new skill.
Yes.
Learning to grow.
May I describe the day and what that looks like?
Yeah, exactly what I was going to ask. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. So we believe that people going through trauma, whether it's people, veterans coming back from the war, people coming out of incarceration, those with domestic violence experience, they're in a state of trauma, and those living on the streets, so the first thing we do in the farm day is we get in touch with our breathing exercises. I call that yoga, but whatever you call it, we're grounding ourselves with the earth, and very literally take off our shoes. We either have a yoga mat or we're right in the soil, and we do about 10 to 15 minutes of just stretching exercises just to say, let's get in touch with our bodies first, and let's calm down. Anything that was stressful or traumatic before you came to the farm, let's leave it behind so that we can really come together as a team and farm together.
So when I hear you explain that, I'm thinking about my childhood. Take away the yoga mat and all the breathing exercises and all of the healthy parts about life. And you talk about being close to the earth, getting dirty.
Yes.
That sounds like the feral childhood that I had. Plus yoga.
Yeah, exactly. So there is something very profound about our connection with the earth. And perhaps that's a symptom of our society right now. We're very disconnected from the earth, from living things, from growing things. So the second part of the day, if I can continue, is that we go to the mission control board for the farm, and the plants are our boss. So the plants, we do a walk tour of the farm, and we say, that looks like it needs a little watering, or you know what, we need the plant to fill this bed right here, so we're going to sow some seeds today. And we come up with a list of things that need to be done. And after we look at the task, we divide the work, and we go out and farm. And that goes for about an hour and a half. We come back together. We reflect how it went. We do a life skill training. So in the initial phases, in the initial weeks, the modules are about identifying your emotions, understanding how you feel, and it's okay to feel that way, and just knowing how to recognize that and manage those emotions. And then it will progress into communication skills, teamwork, and eventually writing resumes and interview practice for that next job.
Okay, you're not going to make me talk about my emotions, are you?
Well, if they're positive, go right ahead.
I'm feeling lots of things. No, I'm just kidding. So what I'm hearing is you're not just. I'm hearing a lot of things. One, you said something about we have a lot of disconnection in our world today.
Yes,
and I agree. We are disconnected from ourselves, from each other, from the earth, just from the world way too much.
Yes,
way too much. And we talk about connectivity and being a connector in the Ogden way a lot because as a city, we have a lot of resources, programs, opportunities throughout the whole city, whether it's provided by Ogden City or by a partner or anybody in the city. And we're missing that connectivity with those opportunities and those resources a lot of the time.
Right.
And so your program to me is very much an opportunity and a resource.
Mm-hmm.
It's available because you are a connector, and so you got to find the people that are ready for this.
Yes.
And connect them with the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And when they do that, what kind of luck and success are you having with people?
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're also a mentor. You're not just
exactly.
You're not just an employer or
I'm a friend.
You're a friend, a mentor, a guidance and support.
I'm a cheerleader.
And you're definitely a champion, right?
That's right. So you had multiple questions there, and I think one of them at least was, what kind of people are we finding and what kind of a success are we having? Our first attempt to advertise this program, we stuck flyers in coffee shops around the city. We went to Lantern House and Hope Rescue Mission and YCC Family Crisis. And then we put it on Indeed. And we got 65 applicants in 10 days. Said, I want this. Okay. And so we're like overwhelmed a little bit. And we're saying, okay, how do we do this? So we had to weed out the 28 that were still in high school or they had already gotten a college degree. We said, okay, that's not really the population we're looking for. And we wanted it to be actually initially for people above 25 years old, just because we wanted them to have a chance at life, right? And if they got stuck after that would be a good age group to show up. So we said, okay, fill out the 4-page application. Our social worker will meet with you. But really, most important, show up at day one on the farm. We'll get to know you. And of the 28 that we said, hey, show up, 12 showed up.
Okay. So
we said, okay, now we got to get to 3 because that's all we could fund.
Okay.
We want to fund 6 this year per session, a spring session and a fall session.
Okay.
So then we explained the program. We had an introduction. And once they understood the program, 6 came the next day. So they self-select.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we had to make some difficult decisions to get down to 3. And one of those, turns out, had some emotional anger management type things from previous life and all the trauma, and I get that. But the 2 that stayed and worked the whole 16 weeks, amazing. One was a veteran. I think he was born in New York and been all over the country, served our country in the Middle East, and he was kind of stuck. He's got 2 kids and trying to figure it out. Single dad. He loves landscaping. He wanted to start his landscaping business, and so we coached him. How do you put those pieces together? He actually got a grant from the city to redo his front yard. There's a water conservation policy.
Yep.
And
the flip the strip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So we came to his house and
Perfect.
help them out. And now he's got a real estate license. He's got his real estate license. He said, I know I can't go into business right now, but I'm going to sell properties. I'm going to get into it. So this guy's relaunched, and he's
That's big time.
being a dad for his 2 kids and trying to figure out how to get his previous relationships in order, right?
Right.
The second, her name is Missy, and she was kind of stuck mid-30s, just in a dead-end job per se, and she wanted to farm. She wanted to homestead, and she and her boyfriend wanted to start their lives, and so she has a love for dogs. And as we worked through the 16 weeks, we realized that dog training would be her niche. And now she's training 2 dogs at her house. She's not certified, but she doesn't have the finances now to go to dog training school, but she's doing the work, and she's much more excited about life.
So the first gentleman, the veteran,
Yes.
and then we'll get to Missy.
Isaiah.
So Isaiah, it sounded like you presented an opportunity. He took the initiative to show up, and he continued to show up, and you continued to show up for him and with him.
Yes.
Right. So he's
Yeah.
investing in himself with ownership and determination of his own.
Mm-hmm.
You're meeting him and matching him with that to help him.
And well, this is his behavior set. I mean, he would come 15 minutes early to work. He said, what can I do to help you?
Perfect, right?
I mean, like, you can't get better than that. And that's because he realized that this is his one chance to really get out.
Well,
out of his whatever he's stuck in his life.
Yeah, and that's the beauty is you gave him an opportunity to do that. He's doing that. You did it with him. You helped him along the way.
Yes.
That's the Ogden way.
Yes.
That's the thing that sets us apart.
Yes, and just to clarify, the you is a staff of 3 people.
Yeah.
We have the farm manager,
Mm-hmm.
we have the job training supervisor, and we have a social worker who's trained, certified to work one-on-one to resolve any confidential issues, whether it's expunging criminal records or just panic attacks or anxiety
Sure.
or not having dental checkups, linking those people to the resources that are already available in the city. This is a one-stop
There you
shop.
go.
And the farm turns out to be the nexus. It's a safe zone. It's a harbor of peace and beauty, and we're creating together. So there's no judgment.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I asked you to come here, because you are creating something that is attracting people because of it's an opportunity. But once they get there, they get a lot more than just learning how to farm. They're getting resource and support. They get a network of love and kindness and support. You're teaching them how to get grounded in the earth or whatever, right? That is important for them, and it helps them through their
Right.
journey. But just like with Isaiah, you connected him with a program that's at the city called Flip Your Strip that you knew about and he probably
Yes.
didn't. You saw
Yes.
a need, you connected somebody with that need. And so you didn't create another program in order to flip the strip. You just connected somebody with the one that already exists. And that's the thing in the Ogden way that's missing a lot of the times is we're not connecting each other with what already exists.
Yeah, and I think it's a
Right.
holistic approach. Sometimes, an example, our medical system, our medicine system, it's wonderful, it's advanced, but sometimes we just have a doctor who specializes in just this one area, and then there's another doctor that specializes in this. This Grow Ogden thing is a whole life approach, a
Right.
humanistic approach, a one that looks at what is all the factors, spiritual, mental, physical, and social well-being, and how do you tie that together? And for example, the end of the farm day, we had our family dinner. Food connects us. So they learned how to cook the food they were growing, and we ate it together. We had some time right around the same table to chat about life. And to me, food connects and food heals, and the food that we're growing really heals. I
Yeah, it
mean,
does.
there's a whole
We'll get to
another
that. We gotta get to
discussion
that, yeah.
about the food in our country, but that's what then made us become, and I'm wearing the shirt here, we are family. I mean, this is about becoming a family, whether it's Ogden family
Mm-hmm.
or whether it's this Farmley family. But it's about caring for one another. And my idol is, or somebody I really admire, is Mr. Rogers, because he was able to look at everybody, see that their greatness and their being special. And that's what we want to do. We want to bring out the greatness of every individual we work with.
Well, I want to help you do that. And I brought you here and asked for you to share the story, but also as an opportunity, I hope, to help share your story, because I think that you can share this and more people will take advantage of it, right? Like when we first came in, like every nonprofit in town wants me to write them a check, right? And there's just like, there's limits to that, but there's more than checks. There's to help. There's alignment, connectivity, visibility.
And may I add, the ecosystem analogy is beautiful. Farmers really understand ecosystems, or at least they should.
Well, I used to be a biologist, so I think I get it too.
Okay,
Yeah.
My wife too. Anyway, the ecosystem here is everybody can contribute in a beautiful and wonderful way, and if we figure out where all the pieces are in the puzzle, Grow Ogden is an empowering mechanism. Doesn't mean that the Ogden Police Department can't help with the safety and the containment of homelessness. It is a dire and desperate situation, and life and death, as you said in your video. But then there's this services provider community of homelessness services providers. Where are you going to sleep? How do we get you fed? What about medical care? But what we're putting on top of that is an empowering, a way out of poverty, a pathway out of poverty. That's what Grow Ogden is. And it may be just for that 5% of the population that's ready for it, but it's a necessary component for Ogden's solution.
Right, because the solution for Ogden is about helping people. It's
Exactly.
lifting people is what literally is going to lift Ogden. And if we're doing the work of bringing opportunities and creating an environment for people to succeed in, what good is that if we are not helping people connect with and elevate through those opportunities and in that environment?
And sometimes it's a revolving door. The recidivism rate goes way down when there's nobody at the other end to receive them.
Right.
And so we're the family to receive that person, connect them even after they graduate. We're meeting with them for a family reunion dinner every 2 months.
Perfect.
To say, hey, you're still part of our family. We haven't forgotten you.
Absolutely.
In fact, you can help the new trainees integrate because you know some of how you manage through this whole homeless situation.
Right. So what I've learned from this discussion is that you're looking for people that are a good fit for the program. I thought starting out, you're a fit if this is the thing that you want to take on and do for the rest of your lives, or what you want to do for the next steps. And for some it might be, but it doesn't mean that this has to be the thing that you do. It's just come do this. It's healthy, it's constructive and productive. And while you're here, you're going to be in an environment with people who care deeply for your success.
Yes.
Right?
We're all in it for you.
You're like a microcosm of what Ogden is and needs to be more of for each other. And I love the stories with Isaiah and
Marissa.
And Marissa? Missy. Okay. And for Missy, because you guys are close now, Isaiah and Missy look to you and lean on you and trust you and believe in you, I'm sure.
Yes.
And so they open up to you.
That's what's so fulfilling about this work. My life is transforming through my work on the farm. It's not just for them. No, this is exciting. And I know a whole staff of people, and I know 300 volunteers who've offered 600 hours of service.
That's amazing.
And I moved here to Ogden 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I knew nobody. I had no relatives, nobody. I'm from Pennsylvania. Now I know thousands.
Isn't it amazing how fast you can plug in Ogden? How fast you can get involved?
Yes.
And start lifting and doing.
And I did the research on Ogden. Okay, I looked at every city in Utah, and I said, where are we going to establish a farm with a social mission after Salt Lake? Because that's where I came from. I worked at the Green Phoenix Farm, Wasatch Community Gardens version of 7 women at a time relaunching their lives.
Mm.
So I did the study, and we have Weber State University. We have Catholic Community Services. We have 2 rivers, the Weber River and the Ogden River. We have all these nonprofits. When I went to Provo, they said, homelessness, we don't have a problem with homelessness.
Mm.
When I came here, they said, yes, we're struggling with this. We're working on this. The local homeless council, Commissioner Bolos, and before that, Commissioner Scott Jenkins. People were rolling up their sleeves and doing whatever they can, and it's a complex problem.
Big time.
So because Ogden recognizes the challenge and they have the resources and the heart, that's what makes Ogden such a beautiful city.
I totally agree. And we talk about our secret sauce a lot. It's a difficult thing to explain, but the size of our city is important too.
Yes.
We're big enough to have resources. We're big enough to have a big voice at the state level. We're big enough to have like a collective will, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
And expertise and things like that. But we're small enough too to be personable.
That I can talk to you.
Right? Yeah. Like
now, I will say it was tough from the former administration to break through there.
but to change that,
I had
right?
a wall, you know.
Yeah.
We were looking at property next to the Lantern House. It just didn't work. But with that grit and tenacity and determination, I said, I'm not giving up. These are lives at stake, and there's hundreds of them to come that we can touch and relaunch. And so I keep on going.
There you go. Well, and when you and I interact a lot, I see you all the time at events and different things. But the point was, you were asking for help, and I said the kind of help you're asking for actually is going to be really hard for me. But that doesn't mean that I can't help in this way, that way, or the other way.
Right.
That's why we film the video to help encourage contributions.
Well, you know this, social media. Okay,
there's a
we
lot of
get
power
the
there.
right video out there, and the call to action. There's a lot of people that want to know how to connect. They just don't know how, and they're despairing because they watch the news. But it's about local, right?
That's
it's
correct.
About relationships. It's about one-on-one. And I have enjoyed the people from Ogden, the great people.
Well, we've enjoyed you too. And you are literally living and leading and loving totally within the spirit of the Ogden way. And you've only been here for 2 years, but you chose Ogden because you recognized that about us. You saw the Ogden way in our community before from the outside.
Yeah.
You came in, you got connected, immediately got to work. Now you're looking for others. You've got people around you in a whole ecosystem. Tell us where you're farming at, as an example.
Okay.
Yep.
Grow Ogden is located on the property of First Presbyterian Church in an unused playground that was active in the 1960s. So this lot has sat unused and built up silt, and trees were growing, and bees and wasps. They're good, but managed in the right place. Right. So anyway, we transformed that lot. And what surprised me, this is 28th and Quincy, that when we announced on the 24th of June, 2023, we had a dinner at our lunch at our home. And we invited everybody who wanted to start Grow Ogden to our luncheon. We had 24 people show up. And after that, we did a little bit of talking what would be the areas, work streams required to make this a success. There were people that said, okay, I'm jumping in the truck. Let's go over there and look at the plot of land today, and they assessed it. And it turned out half of it was macadam, or asphalt, as they say in Utah. So we're like, there's no way. This is all gravel and asphalt. How are we going to grow anything there? And I let the team say, you answer that. Let's do it. And so we figured out raised beds on the half that was asphalt. And the rest we dug in, and we used permaculture principles and help from Josh Jones from the city, who did a 3D graphic of what the farm design would look like. And we put that in front of people and said, You want to help create this? They came 30 at a time. We had these events almost every week or every other week. And these mid-single adult ages, from anywhere from 18 to 35 years old, they came, I don't know if it was post-COVID or what, but they wanted to be a part of community. They wanted to grow and do something meaningful.
So you just mentioned an employee, Josh Jones. He's our director of GIS, Geographic Information
cool.
Systems. That's a geospatial mapping product that
He's
is
a lot of fun.
Hugely important. Yeah, it's a powerful program, but we need it in almost every element of the work we do as a city. And I'm betting he did that work outside of city hours. He did it because he cares.
Yeah, he
right?
was in on the beginning. He said, "Karl, I love your vision. Good luck."
Good luck. But that's his contribution to help, right?
He's like, "You got to keep going because there's a lot of people that may say no."
Yeah.
But we've demonstrated it now. We know it works.
Yeah, it's all about getting to yes, right?
Yes.
And so I love to hear the stories about the success, especially about the individuals. But as you're still new and early on, you're looking to scale up by impacting more lives. But you've maintained a huge network of support around you.
Yes.
John Jaskovic is the pastor.
Jaskovich.
Jaskovich is the pastor at the church. He's an awesome guy.
That's amazing.
He's a faith leader, and that's an important thing because that's who people look to.
And I love their church's mission is really community outreach. And they actually have a committee for this.
Right.
They read my article in the newspaper, Farmer in Search of Farm,
Yeah.
And they answered the call.
They even have a basketball gym inside the church that sometimes city kids are in there playing basketball.
Yeah.
They're a community church, one of many, many really rich and diverse denominations in our downtown alone.
Yes.
Right.
And that's in that Central East neighborhood that really needs that uplift. And so they're doing a marvelous job.
They are. And he's a member of the Faith Council that we engage with too, because we see those faith leaders as important connectors and influencers and mentors. And so when we talk about the Ogden Way and connecting, you are absolutely a connector and a mentor, right?
I hope so.
But you were relying on other connectors and mentors around you.
Absolutely. There's a network of support systems.
Right.
Your family is the first one, but what if that's not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then your neighbors and your community and your church, what if that's not there? And so we're kind of this safety net to try to reconnect them back. And if we connect them to a stable job, then they have an employment team, a company culture that they can at least talk to people. Right. Mm.
And that the power of that network too is that no matter what they need, someone in that church or connected with that church or know somebody, if that's not themselves, that can help in that time.
Exactly.
And that is so powerful. Like, look, government has a role in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably in too many things. Right. Right. And so the first place we should look for solutions is not necessarily government.
Right. And you spoke to that at the Martin Luther King celebration breakfast. I think you talked about, this is about lifting ourselves first and being the people that we want to see the change in the world to be, right?
Right. We all own our own role in all of this. Right?
Exactly. And I'm trying to be the best Farmer Karl I can be.
You're the best Farmer Karl I know, that's for sure. So share a little bit about what you're growing.
Yeah. So, just to make sure I knew how to grow in Ogden, this is Harvested Wednesday. This is our winter salad mix. And we harvested 36 bags of greens like this in February, okay? Mm-hmm. This is 1 week's worth of growth. And a lot of people don't realize that Ogden can farm. Ogden can grow food. In 1960, 40% of the food consumed in Utah was grown in Utah, okay? Mm-hmm. Now it's 2%.
Wow.
So talk about economy. Okay, you're in charge of, let's get more taxes out of these people, right? No, just kidding.
Hey,
But what if We put $7 million of local food production back into Ogden. You take 85,000 residents times $200 a month on your grocery bill for greens per adult. You multiply that out, that's close to $7 million. And that's 40%. 40% of that. That in this economy, if we had small farmers serving this community, that would be local funds that are building Ogden and helping us be healthy, right?
Right.
So
not
there's
not just
potential
building
there.
Ogden. You're growing, nurturing, feeding, healing Ogden.
Yes.
Right.
Food is medicine.
Food is medicine.
Don't forget.
Especially with the micronutrients that are in that,
Yes.
right?
And this is for you, by the way.
I appreciate that. And this is a gift of a non-pecuniary value, for the record. So not a bribe, just a nice gesture. Thank you.
Yes.
And I will eat this tonight.
Yes.
And because I actually do eat like this.
Good.
Yeah.
Like
but
a rabbit.
I don't grow like this. I have. I actually have had raised gardens and done this kind of work myself, but I've kind of fallen away from it personally.
Got to balance everything,
Oh,
right?
we'll get back to it, right? So before we wrap up, we got a little bit of time left, but tell us more about where people can find more information about your program.
Yes. So Eden Streets is the name of the company, the nonprofit, official, legally recognized organization. Grow Ogden is a project of Eden Streets, which will be a project until Ogden can own Grow Ogden. Then it can become its own nonprofit. And what we see, Eden is not the Eden up the valley, but Eden as in the Garden of Eden. We foresee farms with social missions in every city around the world. You look at Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles, Seattle, Washington, Denver, Colorado. I just naming the western side of the United States. Huge challenges with homelessness. We have a solution that has a recidivism rate that's like 5%. The Homeless Garden Project in Santa Cruz, California, has been practicing this for 30 years. They take 17 people on a year, and their recidivism rate is 5%. In other words, 95% go on to a stable job and stable housing. And you talk to any social worker, that's like 45 to 60% better than what we're normally doing about these people that are homeless that come back into the system.
Those are impressive numbers.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you have website?
Yes. Oh, EdenStreets.org. And under program, since Grow Ogden is our first pilot farm, just look under program. You'll see program team and program events, and all the people that are serving voluntary-wise or other are listed on that website.
Okay.
And we have an Instagram and Facebook social media channel, Grow Ogden. I love the symbol we tried to integrate in the logo, the colors of Weber State University and the Arch of Ogden, and a plant in the middle, right?
You're doing it all. Yeah, you got hitting all the marks. Yep.
We got the creative artists, everybody behind this, and so it's a thrill and honor to be here in Ogden. And especially with your leadership, I believe that we can transform lives and make the city a gem that all across Utah, they'll look and say, man, what's Ogden doing?
What's Ogden doing, right? Well, it's an honor to have you in Ogden, honestly, and a blessing to get to be the mayor of a city like this.
Thank you. Can I include a call to action?
Yes, you can. But first, you also have composting efforts as well that you're doing?
Well, this is part of my call to action.
Okay.
This is what I call a compost pail. And, we look every day we're throwing thousands of pounds of food scraps away. And this is an effort. If you take a look at this, it says, help lift people and build community one pail at a time, Grow Ogden. And that's what we're doing. We're really lifting people, like you said, in your the Ogden way. We're lifting people one at a time through a very little farm program, and we can create the soil that will grow amazing produce like what you just received.
Actually, when we say you're lifting people one at a time,
Yes.
what we often forget is how much lifting we're doing for each other and for ourselves when we lift others. Right?
It makes me feel good. That's why I want to do this. I'm going to be 95
Right.
before this stops.
So you're starting with one, and then you had a cohort of 2, right?
Yeah.
It was a cohort. You had 68.
That's my wife, by the way.
but you're starting small and you're building up. But you're lifting your own spirit, and there's a lot of people whose spirits are lifted as a result of lifting others.
Yeah.
And
nobody would know I'm 75 years old.
Right.
No, 62.
Wait, you are a new grandfather though, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Number 5. Yes.
Yeah. So no one would have guessed you're a grandfather. That's
the
for
farm
sure.
life is good for you.
It's a good life.
As also the wheat bread. So
there you go. So that I think that you make the ending for our episode perfectly, because there are so many calls to action that you've already taken.
yes.
Right? Because we always end our episode, and we'll do the same today. We end our episode with a call to action. First to like, share, subscribe. The Ogden Way. Go to our social
Yes.
media. Go to our website, theogdenway.com. Get plugged in. Listen to more podcast episodes. Find out more ways that you can get involved in our community. Right? And so for a call to action today is to go to your website.
Yes.
Right? And do what you can to contribute, not just in terms of composting, but
Yeah.
pull out your wallet
There's
and make a
another
contribution.
thing. How many of you shop at Smith's? Okay. They have Smith's Inspiring Donations. What you buy at Smith's, 0.25% can go to fund Grow Ogden, this program.
There you go.
That's an amazing cooperation. So Smith's Inspiring Donations, and that's a way that we can solve this challenge of homelessness and actually provide a pathway out of poverty.
Awesome. And if anybody has the ability to, in the capacity within yourselves to contribute,
To
volunteer, contribute
Yep.
financially, right? Farmer Karl and team are
I'm
always
there,
looking for help.
and it's Eden Street/donate to contribute to our Sow a Seed Today campaign.
There you go. There's our call to action,
Great.
right? Eden Streets
Eden Street/donate.
/donate. Go
and
to
it's
that.
EdenStreets.org. Yeah, just in case.
Okay. Go to that website. Pull out your wallet if you can. If you can't, give of yourself, give of your heart and your
Yes.
time and of your service.
And I appreciate you saying we got to get business sponsors on here too, right?
Agreed. I know.
I'm creating the new labor force, right? They're
Right.
going to get hired in your businesses, right? So this is a time to put your banner on the farm, Grow Ogden's farm fence, and say, Parker Hannafin, proud supporter of Grow Ogden. And we actually ran a campaign, Field of Dreams, in the summer. And you've seen the movie, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
We have a Field of Dreams right here in Ogden. Okay. And that Field of Dreams can be rented or purchased, leased out, so that your company can have your sign on this plot or this high tunnel or whatever, so that they sense that they're owning the challenges Ogden has, and
Yeah.
they're helping relaunch lives through farming.
There you go. Or even if you know somebody that you think would be really interested in either participating in Karl's program
Yes.
or helping to support those that are participating in his program. That's another call to
Raise
action.
your hand.
Connect yourself or connect those around you with the opportunities and the needs within our community in
Yeah.
order to lift others, right, as we do the work to lift ourselves.
Exactly.
That is the Ogden way. And Farmer Karl, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. It's
Yep.
been my deep pleasure.
No, mine as well. And I hope that this episode gets shared, liked, subscribed, and that it leads to many, many more blessings for you and for your program.
Yes, it's been an exciting adventure here in Ogden. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, till next time, we are the Ogden Way Podcast.